Okay, so my exhortation is about ambassadors.
Sorry, about what?
Ambassadors.
Ambassadors?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Virtue. I'm not sure if you can.
Praise God. Okay, so the first question I have is, what is your understanding of an ambassador? A representative. Anyone else? Other than Pastor Anthony and Deborah? And peace. Mr. Glory.
That's pretty much it. It represents someone that represents our country, nation, jurisdiction. They get privileged in that territory they're in, and they usually apply to the laws of their country.
I've got two definitions. So I've got basically a diplomatic official of the highest rank sent by one sovereign or state to another, or as its representative resident. I've also got an authorized messenger or representative. That's what I got as the definition for it. Basically, I'm explaining it, but the scriptures, does that make sense? So, Pastor Annie, can you please go to Philippians 3:20 in the Amplified version there? Yeah, in the Amplified version.
It says, but we are different because our citizenship is in heaven. And from there we eagerly await the coming of the Savior, Christ.
Sorry, can you say that first?
What 21, who by exerting that power which enables him even to subject everything to himself, will not only transform but completely refashion our earthly bodies, so that they will be like his glorious resurrected body.
Okay. So when I read the scripture, I literally took it as this. It basically explains our citizenship as ambassadors of Christ. It explains how Jesus will transform us into ambassadors like him. So we're basically ambassadors for the kingdom. So there's a difference between being an ambassador of this world and being an ambassador of the heavenly kingdom. Mm-hmm. So I'll go more into it. If someone else can go to John 15 from 19 to 21, also amplified. Sorry, I didn't amplify it, please.
John 15?
Yes,
19?
15, yeah, 19 to 21.
If you belong to the world will love you as its own and will treat you with affection. But you are not the world, you no longer belong to it. But I have chosen you out of the world, and because of this, the world hates you. Remember, you need to remember that I told you, the servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they kept my word, they will keep yours also. But they will do all these hurtful things to you for my own sake, because you bear my name and are identified with me. For they do not know the one who sent me.
Yeah. So when I read that, I literally was like, wow. So my understanding is that we are chosen ambassadors of Christ. Our walk is not of this world. It's basically of the heavenly kingdom. There's a transformation that God does in us from being in the world. I basically wrote that we no longer belong to it due to due to us only seeking the earthly kingdom, the heavenly kingdom, that we then testify as ambassadors for the heavenly kingdom. We may face trials and afflictions like he did, but as Christ did, we also have to do as ambassadors of him. So if we're going to be like Christ, we have to go through what he went through. We have to do the things that he did. So when they say about the afflictions and persecutions we face, we all go through it at some point in life. But we need to remember that us being ambassadors of Christ, he went through it, so we also have to, we want to be like Christ. If you want to be in his image, if you want to be exactly like him. I also read, like, John 15:21 stood out to me a lot as well, where it says that they may do helpful things to you for his name's sake. And I thought to myself, wow, when you say namesake, it's like me and my dad. I bear my dad's surname. So whatever I do is basically a reflection of my father as I am his child. So it's the same thing for us. We are reflections of Christ. So whatever we do, because we bear his surname, if that makes sense. So when I say ambassadors, I really want you to understand that it's not just being a Christian. That's not enough to be an ambassador. Yes, it's a stepping stone into being an ambassador, but it's not enough. You can't just say I'm a Christian and therefore I'm an ambassador of Christ. What does an ambassador do for Christ? That's what you need to really think about. It's not just being a Christian and knowing your Bible. That's not enough, if that makes sense. I also read Colossians 1:13 and 15. If someone can read that for me. Yes, please, sorry.
For he has rescued us and has brought us to himself from the dominion of darkness, led us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, in whom we have redemption because of his sacrifice, resulting in forgiveness of our sins and the cancellation of our sins penalty. He is the exact living image, the essential manifestation of the unseen God, the visible representation of the invisible, the firstborn, the preeminent one, the sovereign and the originator of all creation.
So when I read that, I was just like, wow, this book is just, it's just a lot. So for me, when I read that, I basically took it as Christ explaining to us what he did for us in order for us to be able to even be, what's the word when you go for audition and you basically get chosen? That's it. For us to even be selected as ambassadors, he went through a lot. So when I read that, I just thought to myself, like, wow, we say we are ambassadors of Christ, but truly, do we understand what he went through in order for us to basically carry that title of being an ambassador? So yeah, I'm just going to quickly go through the book. When I was reading all that, it kind of brought me back to Paul the Apostle, when Paul was basically challenging us to be great ambassadors of Christ. When he said in 2 Corinthians 5:20, like 2021, where he was basically pleading for the people to reconcile back with God and to be righteous and to accept Jesus Christ. He basically said that we are ambassadors of Christ, so that the only way to be an ambassador is truly to accept Christ and to be a representative of the heavenly kingdom. If anyone could just read the 2 Corinthians 5:20 in Amplified.
So we are ambassadors of Christ, as though God were making his appeal through us. We, as Christ's representatives, plead with you on behalf of Christ to be reconciled to God. He made Christ, who knew no sin, judicially be sin on our behalf, so that in him we would become the righteousness of God, that made acceptable to him and placed in the right relationship with him by his gracious, loving kindness.
Amen. So it kind of just basically, this is just what I've just said, but he goes into depth to explain what it means to, like, why he wants us to reconcile back with Christ. Not because we're going back with our Father, but it's more to do with the walk and what we have to do in this kingdom. It's a hard walk. It's not an easy thing. There's different things that we all may face independently. But when you say you're an ambassador, it's a special title you carry. It's like when the Queen knights someone and she puts the knife in the mission of all of her hope, like she does all her That's stuff that she does. It's a special ceremony, if that makes sense. That's kind of like how I take it when I'm talking about being an ambassador. It's like Christ has united us as ambassadors. He's given us that privilege to do the work. Like it's an honor to do it. So when I'm saying being an ambassador, I really want to really think about it in depth and really understand what I'm trying to say. The second question I had was, do we Christians have what it takes to be ambassadors of Christ? What do you guys think? I just say yeah. So I want guys to be more talking to my president. Mr. Gerald. Mr.
Pastor.
I think it depends on what class as a. I don't think Christians automatically become ambassadors of Christ. I mean, inside, the job's been done in terms of Christ's sacrifice for you. But as an ambassador, you can't, that's a huge reputation. And I think there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's the same way, we can't be Nigerians, but we can't represent Nigeria's interests in the UK because we're not being worthy to be ambassadors for it. Or, you know, in that sense, the same way you have to look at it in Christ. If you don't do the work that goes into it and know about Christ properly for yourself, you can't just claim you're an ambassador because you're working.
Anyone else?
Do
Do we Christians have what it takes to be ambassadors of Christ?
Yeah. God's made you person in his image. Because if you've got God's image and you are something, he's given you everything for what his best purposes. So if you're called to be an ambassador, you find that seed of greatness, that seed of leadership inside of you, but it's up to you to actually birth it forward. So you have ability, but it's about you actually acting and birthing it forward.
This is another question, but I'm going to kind of answer myself. Do we know how an ambassador should behave, or what an ambassador should do for Christ? I'm just going to say, being an ambassador of Christ is an honor, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. As Gerald said, it's something that you do daily, it's a walk that you continuously do. It's something that, yes, you are an ambassador when you take Christ in, but it's not just a one day, I'm an ambassador today, okay, that's it. It's a walk, it's an everyday situation, it's an everyday thing. And I just put some things in that we should just be mindful of as ambassadors of Christ. The way we speak, our inward actions, our reactions, our appearance, our conduct, and our true love to Christ. Those are things that we should really think about as well as being ambassadors. I also, everything is in the image of Christ, and it truly is down to us as children of Christ to truly set the greatest example of what an ambassador of Christ is. Sorry. I also wrote basically our inheritance as an ambassador of Christ. In Christ, you inherit all things. The kingdom is richly stocked up and waiting for you to unlock the gifts that it has in store for you. You can only imagine what Christ has for you. He said at any time of what the kingdom has that he will give to you. So it's really and truly just sitting there and thinking to yourself, are you really ready for what he has for you? And are you really ready to take on the role as an ambassador for him, to do what he wants you to do, to bring the soul that he wants you to bring, to do the walk that he's called you into? Because you all individually have a different walk. Mine is different from Mr. Francis, mine is different from Pastor Anne, mine is different from Gerald. But deep down, do you guys know what it is, and do you know that it's not just a walk, it's much more than that. It's a calling, but it's a very different calling, if that makes sense. I'm just going to round up with two more things. So if we could look in Proverbs 13:17, also number 5. Verse 13.
13 and 17.
Sorry, yeah, it's Proverbs 13, verse 17.
A wicked messenger falls into hardship, but a faithful ambassador guarantees it.
If you just carry on, sorry, to 21.
Poverty and shame will come to him who refuses instruction and discipline. He who accepts and learns from reproof or censure is honored. Desire realized is sweet to the soul, but it is detestable to fools who turn away from evil which they have planned. He who walks as a companion with wise men will be wise, but the companions of conceited, dull-witted fools are fools themselves and will experience harm.
To 21, sorry.
Adversity pursues sinners, but the consistently upright will be rewarded with prosperity.
So when I read that, it just basically just explained it all to me. It just explains that being an ambassador, there's greatness in it, and when you're not in line with that, when you're not walking in that, as you read, that follow it, and you're not walking in line with it. So I just wrote a few more things. I just said an ambassador is a representative of another culture, another way of life. When I wrote that, I just thought to myself, when you say another way of life, to me, it's basically saying from the earthly kingdom to the heavenly kingdom. It's very different. So when you're saying another way of life, it's another way because there's peace, there's joy in his kingdom. And when you're walking in line with the things that he wants you to do, things just fall into place. Everything happens and it's just easy, it's breezy. And it's just, there's just so much peace. And I can say that for myself because when I've taken this walk much more seriously than I did before, I've just realized the peace that is in with me. And when you walk in line with what God wants you to do, there's just abundance of everything. Everything just flows very well. And if you realize that when you walk out of it, you see a difference that nothing's working. You can try your best to do all what you want to do, but it just doesn't work. And I use myself as an example. When I was in Christ trying to get a job, I wouldn't get the jobs I wanted. I would always get like really silly jobs like receptionist or not like that. That's just not for me. But when I wanted proper roles, it just wasn't happening. I just wasn't getting the job. I was like, but I'm qualified to do this. Like, I've done all the training, I've done everything. Why is it just not working? But when I realized that taking my work seriously, when I apply for these roles, it's just a joke. Like when I go to the interview, I literally sit and I'm like, this is not even an interview. This is a conversation with someone. And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her and she's like, should we even continue this? Like, we've got the job. It's just so easy for me. It's just easier than me trying to press it on my own. It doesn't ever work. And I just wrote, she or he, does not give his own opinion, but advances the positions of his father. When I say that, it's basically Christ in the he or she functions as a servant or a steward representing his or her country faithfully. He or she practices hospitality, courtesy, and is gracious in all aspects of life. It's just a number of attributes of what an ambassador is. So that's the end of it. I just hope that you all kind of took what I said and really just sit back and say to yourself, are you truly ambassadors of Christ? And do you really say that you can stand there and be like, yeah, I'm an ambassador of Christ, and you're walking in line with that? That's it.
And it's just a reminder as well that, we're ambassadors, and a reminder to say that, we do represent, and when people see us, they see also lovely. But I love the scriptures that you used as well. Food for thought, so love the exhortation here to want to see more as well. Yeah, praise God. Amen. On the choir, so the choir will give us a special number, and we're going to go straight into the word for
So we're going to do for today called How We Love Your Name. If you really know it, we'll sing my name. I don't know what's that. No other God can be called a father. No other God can be called a friend. No other God can be called Redeemer. No other God's coming back again. And how we love your name, Jesus, you're the beautiful one. We love your name. And how we love your name, Jesus, you're the beautiful one. We love your name. No other God can be called a father. No other God. No other God can be called a friend. Oh, no other God. No other God can be called Redeemer. No other God coming back. No other God's coming back again. How we love your name. How we love your name. Jesus, you're the beautiful one. We love your name. How we love your name. How we love your name. Jesus, you're the beautiful one. We love your name. How we love you. King of kings, how we love you. Lord of lords, how we love you. King of kings, how we love you. Lord of lords, we love the fragrance of your holy name. You came and brought us into the reign of day. We love the fragrance of your holy name. You came and brought us into the reign of day. We love the fragrance of your holy name. You came and brought us into the reign of day. We love the fragrance. We love the fragrance of your holy name. You came and brought us. You came and brought us into the reign of day. And we sing glory to the righteous one. We sing glory, glory to the righteous Are we ready for the word? So we're ready for part 2 of Mr. Glory's word.
It's not really part 2.
Oh, yeah.
pastors, orders and instructions. And there wasn't that much left from last week. Other Roman. So on Sunday, pastor spoke about, well, he introduced what we spoke about today, which is greatness. So, show of hands. Who's is great? We'll put it high, like high. You're great, yeah? Okay. So, what's greatness? Okay, elaborate. Okay. Alright. So made in this image. Awesome. Okay. Everyone agree with that?
Yeah.
So everyone is what is great. Because everyone was made in this image, yeah? No? Okay. Anyone else? What's greatness? Anyone else? I saw a lot of hands up. Now I don't see. I'm filling your assignment. So you're filling your assignment now. You hope so. Alright. Greatness is a big topic. Yeah. And rather than, well, what a few definitions of what greatness is. It says the quality of being great, having a distinction, status, reputation, high standards, superiority, an individual possessing a natural ability to exceed others. Alright, so those are a few things and just keep that in mind. And you can see it in the world, there's a lot of people that will be perceived as great, that are footballers, like Cristiano Ronaldo, or Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, or Muhammad Ali. And these are all people that are perceived as great because their ability is above others, people that are around them. And we know that this month is on God. I want to kind of take a little step back and realize that although God does a lot of miracles, everyone knows that God He's almighty, He's powerful. It's usually the human that shows God's greatness. It's usually the person, like most of you split the Red Sea, it's usually the person that the people see that causes them to give glory to God for His greatness. Okay, so we're going to be looking at two individuals. Right. So the title is The Fall of the Almost Great and the Rise of the Greatest. We're going to be looking at David and Saul. So these two people, so you need to be careful when you're looking at your life and you're looking to become great. You need to not miss the mark. You can start off great and be on that path, but it doesn't mean you're going to end up there if you're not vigilant and if you're not careful. Alright? So, as you said, greatness is a calling. Every individual has got a calling, and fulfilling that calling will cause you to be great as an individual. Glory in your field. Please be great in that field. And you know what I was saying that remaining in image of great. Everyone has like a seed of greatness in them, as I said, birth it out of you. That's when you can say, oh, you didn't need to say people will be great. That's when you realize you're great. So yeah, looking at the difference between almost becoming great and actually becoming the greatest. And what I realized when I was studying Saul's life and David's life, David's one of my favorite characters in the Bible. I love him. I always really love him. And David is Saul's greatness, the supposed greatness was destroyed because of religion and pride. Yeah? And David's greatness, he reigned because of relationship and humility. Yeah? Two things that came both throughout 1 Samuel which dictates why Saul fell and why David rose. So, going to be my Bible reader. We're going to be starting, we're going to be looking at 1 Samuel and we're reading quite a bit. And we're just going to try and like dissect the word and try and understand it bit by bit. Okay. So the first thing we need to realize is when people see greatness, they usually see something big. But everything that's big usually starts with something small. Sounds simple, not like small beginnings, but it's the most important thing, it's the fundamental thing, getting started. If you don't start, you're never going to become great. You're never going to reach that. So, we're going to go to 1 Samuel 9:21. So, so just to give you background, basically, donkeys went missing, or Saul's father's donkeys went missing, and we went to go look at them. Street 9:21.
Saul answered, but am I not a Benjamite, for the smallest tribe of Israel, and is not my clan the least of all the clans of the tribe of Benjamin? Why do you say such a thing to me?
That's fine. So from that verse, this is basically Saul encountering Samuel, basically saying he's going to be king. And as the first thing I got from this was, Saul was a humble person. Okay? In his beginning, when he started out, he was humble because of his surroundings. He was in the smallest tribe of Israel and the least of all the clans. So imagine, you know, like when Pastor was preaching, and he goes, I'm poor. I'm the poorest of the poorest of the poor. I'm like, wow. So imagine, what people consider nothing, you're beneath that. There's nothing that you can look around you and say, I'm on that level. I'm on that level. I've got a bit of confidence. You're literally at the bottom of the rung. And someone comes to you, a prophet, a man of God comes to you and says, you are going to be king over Israel. There's a bit of humility there. There's a bit of, I would say, fear. Not fear necessarily, fear is the right word, but agitation. Feeling like, am I a king? Me, how can I be a king? When someone came to you and said, I want you to rule this nation. Okay, I want you to be the queen of the United Kingdom. Right now, how would you feel? You wouldn't feel ready, would you? You feel out, you feel at ease. Everyone can say yes, no. Everyone can say yes. But you can say yes, but when it comes to that situation and the responsibility that time holds, you're going to feel nervous. Because you feel like you're not worthy, you're born into that family. You wasn't raised a certain way. So initially felt. So it's a bit of humility, but that's what agitation like. Am I really ready? And a lot of us, we're born into minority. Like I was second generation. I was born here. I was only person born in my family, born in the UK. And in a sense, I feel very privileged that I was born in this country because I'm not paying for studying. It's just that I made up and rich, but I've always had what I needed, necessities. And then there's people in Africa, and they're still grateful for what they have. But if they were put in my position, they were come age, and they were offered a position where I'm working in the bank, they may feel uneasy because of where they come from. So it's okay to feel that sort of uneasy. You start from. So that's the image he had in his head of who he was as a person. And someone's come and completely changed that, saying that you're going to be at a higher level. So can you just read 1 Samuel 9:2. So this this verse is more about perceived greatness. A lot of people look at someone straight away and think this person's great because of how they look, how they stand, how they're dressed. But that's man. That's what man sees. They see the image and they judge. Okay? So I'm just going to read about Samuel and his sort of stature and why Samuel was drawn to him. So you can read.
Kish had a son named Saul, as handsome a young man as could be found anywhere in Israel, and he was a head taller than anyone else. Now the donkeys belonging to Saul's father, Kish, were lost, and Kish said to his son Saul, "Take one of the servants with you, and go look for the donkeys." So he passed through the hill country of Bethlehem, and through the area around Shalisha, but they did not find them. They went on into the districts of Shalim, but the donkeys were not there. Then he passed through the territory of Benjamin, but they did not find them. When they reached the district of Saul said to the servant who was with him, "Come, let's go back, for my father will stop thinking about the donkeys and start worrying about us." But the servant replied, "Look, in this town there is a man of God. He's highly respected and anything he says comes true. Let's go there now. Perhaps he will tell us what way to take." Saul said to his servant, "If we go, what can we do for the man? The food in our sacks is gone. We have no gift to take to the man of God. What do we have?" The servant answered him again. "Look," he said, "I have a quarter of shekel of silver. I will give it to the man of God so that he will tell us what we to take." Formerly in Israel, if someone went to inquire of God, they would say, "Come, let's go to share because the prophet today used to report his gift."
Okay, so there's a few things that stood out to me in this. Okay, and what I usually do when I read the Bible, I don't usually read for the obvious thing. I want to look and see what's the hidden message, what's behind that. And what I noticed was Saul was with his servant. Okay, Saul's going to look for his donkey. He can't find donkey. He decides to give up. His servant is the one who put him to the man of God. His first servant will be that deciding factor. Okay? If his servant didn't say, "Let's go see Samuel," which was already written by God, would he have been ordained as king? Second thing is, God used the donkeys. Something that when people promotion to certain people, if you lost your phone, you lost your car, you lost some sort of item, usually you're going to go stressful, you're going to feel worried, you're looking for it. God used the donkeys as a symbol to bring him into his beginning of greatness. A simplistic situation caused him to stumble into his destiny. Okay? So you need to think, small things in life are as important as the big things. Don't misinterpret little things and don't see any situations, bad situations, as I said before. Always see it as God's either giving promotion or he's leading to something. In 1 Samuel 10:6, it says, "The Spirit of the Lord will come powerfully upon you, and you will be changed into a different person." Verse 9 says, "And God changed his heart." So, before this part, Saul is still himself. He still has that image as a man. He still has that image. His head and shoulders above everyone else. He looks like he could be a king. But there's something missing internally. And that's God. So what we need to realize is, people in this world can be perceived as great, and they can be great, but as Christians, we need to remember that God is that deciding factor which makes us great. Okay? The Spirit of the Lord came upon him powerfully and changed him into a different person. And what you're going to recognize later is that this is exactly the same thing that happened to David when he became, when he was anointed. There's something very symbolic about that. You need the Holy Spirit of God to come to you powerfully. A lot of people pray in tongues, a lot of people see or perceive that they know God and they have a relationship with God. Now, how powerful is God working in your life? Are you working extended integrated as of yet? Why are you still on the outskirts? And why is that? The deciding factor is the Spirit of God coming on powerfully. So, sorry for the first time we when he served the bride, the possession of prophets met him. The Spirit of God came powerfully upon him, and he joined in their prophesying. When all those who had formerly known him saw him prophesy with the prophets, they asked each other, "What is this that has happened to the son of Kish? His son also among the prophets." The Spirit of God comes upon him, and everyone that knew him before instantly has a different image of him. He's surrounded by prophets, prophesying, and he's filled, or he's covered by the Holy Spirit, covered by the Holy Ghost. When you take that step out of your surroundings, your current circumstance, and you follow the leading of the Holy Spirit, and you accept the Holy Spirit, and you allow Him to work powerfully on you, individuals that knew you will instantly see that difference. They will notice the difference. They will be speaking about you. And you know, when at first I didn't think anyone spoke about me when I was young. I didn't think anyone had that would say, "Oh, this or that." I would think, "Oh, I'm talking to you." And then you speak to someone else and you say, "Oh, Glory, I like him, I don't like him, this, that, he dresses funny, he dresses nice." I didn't ever think that, but people do that constantly. So you remember, people are speaking about you all the time, but it's only the Spirit of God that can really change the image that you have, or the perception that others have of you. So yeah, he was amongst prophets, he was one of the greatest men of that time. As you're aware, all kings had prophets or seers or spiritualists, people of power and authority around them. Very high specimen and symbols of God. They were the ones that connected with God. So instantly being surrounded by prophets and being seated in that atmosphere, people are going to instantly believe that you're someone greater. It's like saying, like when Pastor Toby comes and if he's driving his nice car, if you go out with Pastor Toby to Dorchester, just being around him, people are going to perceive you differently. The same way as if you come around with your friends out from school, when you weren't saved, people are instantly going to perceive you as a certain person. Do you remember, the people you keep around you either lead you to or from God. So the servant led him into his destiny. But if that servant was incorrect sort of mindset, he would have led him away and like, let's forget about it. You're not going to find your own peace. Okay? So remember that your surroundings are important, people you surround yourself are important. So really quickly got Samuel, 1 Samuel 11. Trying to give you that. 1 Samuel 11, verse 6.
When Saul heard their words, the Spirit of God came powerfully upon him, and he burned with anger. He took a pair of oxen, cut them into pieces, and set the pieces by messengers throughout Israel, proclaiming, "This is what will be done to the oxen of anyone who does not follow Saul and family." Then the terror of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out together as one. When Saul mustered them at Bezek, the men of Israel numbered 300,000, and those of Judah 30,000. They told the messengers who would come, "Say to the men of Jabesh Gilead, by the time the sun is hot tomorrow, you will be rescued." When the messengers went and reported this to the men of Jabesh, they were elated. They said to the Ammonites, "Tomorrow we will surrender to you, and you can do to us whatever you like." The next day, Saul separated his men into three divisions. During the last watch of the night, they broke into the camp of the Ammonites and slaughtered them until they beat them to death. Those who survived were scattered, so that no two of them were left together.
So, reading this, Saul's basically repressing his people, Jabesh, and because the Spirit of God is on him, when he hears that they're being persecuted, suppressed, he's not the one that gets angry. He's not the one that gets frustrated and wants to move. It's the Spirit of God that's inside him that makes him want to move. He heard it, it came into him, and the Spirit took over. What we realize throughout the Bible is that whenever Saul or David went to war, it would usually be, first of all, led by the Spirit. So you have to have your spiritual ears open, and then you act upon that word. So the Spirit of God came upon him. He heard the word, the Spirit came upon him, and he realized that none of the people that were around him wanted to go to war. The Spirit of God caused him to chop up the oxen and cause terror to fall upon the people, to cause them to follow him. Okay? That first of all implements and shows his influence on his surroundings and the people around him in the city. And this is what caused him to be king. Because when he caused a group of 300,000 men to follow him to war and to conquer a city and to come back victorious, that showed that he was worthy to be king. Because you remember, Israel was looking for him, they were looking for a king. And this man stepped up, Samuel anointed him, and said he's going to be king. No one wanted to accept him at first. They looked at him and thought maybe he may be king. But they didn't bring him gifts, they didn't give him praise until he acted as a king. And when he won the city back, in verse 13, it shows Saul's humility. So it's humble beginnings. He gives glory to God. Because what happened was, some people felt, when Samuel said Saul is king, some people said, he's not worthy to be king. He's from the lowest of the low. Who is he to be king over me? He wandered about and he came back. The people that went out with him said, let us go and smite all those individuals that doubted him. But what Saul said was, let's give glory to God. No one will be put to death today. For today the Lord rescued Israel. Think about how humble that is. And that's something that David is very similar to David. So you need to understand, Saul was quite a great man at the beginning. He was a humble guy. He was on the right way. But God, in first Kings, God warned him about being disobedient, what the consequences are. And in 1 Samuel 13, this is where you start to see Saul's sort of religious antics, and where God starts kind of taking away from. So, 1 Samuel 13. Saul was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned over Israel 42 years. Saul chose 3,000 men from Israel. 2,000 were with him at Michmash and in the hill country of Bethel. And 1,000 were with Jonathan to Benjamin. The rest of the men were sent back to their homes. Jonathan took the Philistines out of Geba, and the Philistines heard about it. Then Saul had a trumpet blown throughout the land and said, let the Hebrews, all Israel, heard the news. Saul has attacked the Philistines' outpost, and now Israel has become obnoxious to the Philistines. And the people were summoned to join Saul at Gilgal. The Philistines attempted to fight Israel with 3,000 chariots, 6,000 chariots, and soldiers moving like sand on the seashore. It's going to jump to Okay. He waited 7 days. Okay. So Saul remained at Gilgal, and all the troops with him were quaking with fear. He waited 7 days, the time set by Samuel, but Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and Saul's men began to scatter. So he said, "Bring me to the burnt offering and the fellowship offerings." And Saul offered up the burnt offerings. Just as he finished making the offerings, Samuel arrived, and Saul went out to greet him. "What have you done?" asked Samuel. Saul replied, "When I saw that the men were scattered, and they did not come at the set time, and the Philistines were assembling at Michmash, I thought, now the Philistines will come down against me at Gilgal, and I have not sought the Lord's favor." So they go into war. Samuel was giving Saul direct instructions. Okay. I'm just going to paraverse these scriptures and I'll go for it as quickly as possible. Samuel told Saul, "Wait 7 days, I'm going to come down to you." His 7 days is coming. Saul can't wait. His soldiers are scared, they're fearful. So what he decides to do, they start running away, they start leaving him. So what he decides to do is, I'm going to get a burnt offering, I'm going to offer it to God. That seems like a good thing to do, correct? You're offering, giving offerings to God, so that when you go to war, you'll be successful. But the funny thing is, Samuel condemned him for offering because that wasn't the instruction he gave him. You've done something for God, but it wasn't what God asked you to do. So you need to remember there's a time and a season for everything that you do with God. And if He's instructed you to do a particular thing, follow that thing. Don't think what you think is greater will oversee or supersede what He's asked you to do. Because that's obedience. That's disobedience. So in verse 11, in verse 11, Saul starts explaining why he did it. So the first thing he did was he saw that his men were scattering. So remember, as I said last time, your eye gates are important. Whatever you're looking at will affect you, will affect your emotions, how you feel, and you'll put image in your head. When he saw them scattering, and he said the set time that Samuel was meant to come, he didn't attend, which was 7 days. As soon as he finished doing the burnt offering, that's when Samuel came. So it was still the 7th day. But for example, let's say it was the 7th day, Saul waited until 6 o'clock. He did his offering until 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, that's when Samuel came. So Samuel still fulfilled his promise. He said, "I'm coming on the 7th day." He came on the 7th day, but not at the time Saul thought he was coming. And because Saul's flesh took over, because he saw the commotion around him, he made his own decision to say, "Let me serve God, let me do what God wants." But it's not really what God wants. You think it's what God wants. Listen to the man of God. The man of God, Pastor Kobe's saying something in a season, it's the reason he's saying that. Don't think, obviously you can have your own personal relationship with God. He's a prophet. He speaks the word of God, he has a relationship with God, and he has to feed the people. There's instruction, follow instruction. The second, so he saw that. The second thing was he thought. When you see something, you instantly think. As soon as you see something you like, you think, "That's amazing," or "I dislike that." When you dwell on that and you look at it constantly, that particular image is going to have a larger impact on you and on your subconscious. It's going to start dominating you. So do you know, like I never like watching these Nigerian films. The reason I don't watch them is because I know as soon as I watch it, fears in story. I'm watching it and it's not entertaining, but I can see like my heart starts pumping, my heart is. And it's true. The heart starts beating. And what happens is you start having nightmares. Why am I having nightmares? What have you watched all this? No. So you have to be careful when you edit your eyes. That's why that's why the consequences of not following God's instructions. Samuel tells him, if you can follow the commands of the Lord, He will give you and establish your kingdom forever. You become the greatest of all time before you even become the greatest. And God declares your greatness in the beginning, and you then walk it out. It's not you discovering your greatness, it's telling you you're great, and then you walk and you become great. Greatness is something that's ongoing, it's a journey. And what you need to realize is that the kingdom that Saul created, or that was bestowed upon him, his reign in that kingdom was terminated, not the kingdom. David took over the kingdom and elevated it. So you need to realize your greatness, you may feel that you're the only person that can do that. If you don't fulfill that greatness, God will raise someone up in your stead and they will fulfill it and excel in that. If they can commit to that. That's what David did. And the funny thing is, what Saul did, as soon as he was told this, that your kingdom is not going to last forever, he looked around and he saw men around him, he saw 600 men. He was still in the flesh. He looked around and said, I've got people around me, I'm still successful, I'm still great, there's nothing to worry about. Yeah? Next, the real demise of Saul was in 1 Samuel 15, where he went to fight the Amalekites. He went to fight the Amalekites. God told him, do not spare anyone, kill babies, kids, mums, dads, sheep, cow, everything. Instead, what Saul did was he took the best sheep, the best oxen, and he saved the king. He saved the king. So, is the king an Amalekite? Yes, he's an Amalekite. Okay, that's established. So he has to be fully. But the reason I say that religion and pride blinded Saul was he thought he did right. He thought, I've done what God has asked me to do. I have fulfilled what God has called me to do. You know when you feel like you've done something for God? Like, you're like, okay, so let's say an offering example. So, God's asking me to give 200.